G'day guys and welcome to Aussie English. My objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to speak like a fair income Aussie or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy Aussie English. G'day guys, what's going on? So, it has been a bit of a rough week. Especially for people living on the east coast of Australia, because I'm sure you guys will have heard, especially if you're living in Australia, and especially if you're living on the east coast, we've been having some devastating bushfires run rampant through New South Wales and southeast Queensland. So I thought today, to begin this episode, I would play the audio from a video from the New South Wales Rural Fire Service. It's an ad that they have up on their YouTube channel. So if you want to find it and you want to watch it, the link will be in the transcript, or you can just search NSWRFS on YouTube. Okay, so here's the ad.
Bushfire fact. Having a plan gives you a better chance of surviving a fire. So make sure you get ready today. Gather the family around a table and talk about what you'll do in a fire. Then complete the following steps in the bushfire survival plan to decide what actions you'll take. Step 1. Discuss what to do if a bushfire threatens your home. Will you leave early or stay and risk defending it? Step 2. Prepare your home for a bushfire. Simple things like cleaning your gutters and keeping your grass short can increase the chances of your home surviving a fire. Step 3. Know the bushfire alert levels. They'll give you an idea of the danger a fire poses. Step 4. Keep all the bushfire information numbers, website and the smartphone app handy. It's a great way to stay informed and may even save your life. Getting ready for a bushfire is easier than you think. Get the easy guide to making your bushfire survival plan at myfireplan.com.au.
Alright, so for obvious reasons, I thought that was poignant. I thought it was important to include that ad today, guys, just so that you're a little bit more bushfire aware, especially as I know that a lot of you guys are living in New South Wales and southeast Queensland. So it's very important for you guys to know how to best manage these sorts of situations if there are bushfires near you, okay? So anyway, I wish you all safe summer. I wish you all a safe week, especially this week, because I have no idea how long these fires are going to continue for. But again, if you need to find out information about what to do, go to the RFS website. That is www.rfs.nsw.gov.au. Again, the link will be in the transcript and you'll be able to find out all the information you need to know on having a fire plan and being safe. We'll talk a bit more about this in the Aussie Fact at the end of this episode today. But aside from that, let's just get into it. So guys, welcome to this episode of Aussie English. This is the #1 podcast for anyone and everyone wanting to learn Australian English and wanting to just improve their English in general. This is a podcast focused on advanced English. So I don't dumb things down for you. I don't change how I speak. I just talk to you normally as I would if you were literally sitting in front of me in this room. Okay, that's the whole point of this podcast, to help you guys get used to the Australian accent, get used to how quickly natives speak and how they speak naturally, right? I'm not really reading off a script here. It's just off the top of my head. Don't forget, if you want the transcripts and the downloads for the podcast, you can sign up for the premium podcast at aussieenglish.com.au/podcast. And you can also get my courses on the website, and you can sign up to the Academy if you would like all of the bonus content for these more advanced expression episodes on the podcast, if you want the natural English dialogues that I create with these episodes, if you want the Aussie facts broken down, and if you want to come to the 3 weekly classes with teacher Renata that she runs online via Zoom. She does 3 30-minute speaking classes every single week to help you guys talk about a range of different topics. So the whole point here is to help you level up your English and get used to talking about many different topics. So let's get into today's joke, guys, and I've got a good one for you. It's related to the body because the expression was pull your head in. So I thought head, okay, body joke. It was hard. I couldn't find a head joke, right? I was looking, but I couldn't find any good ones. So I found one about the nose and the body, okay? So here's the joke. What do you call a nose with no body? What do you call a nose with no body? Are you ready? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, right? Get it? As in a nobody knows, a nose with no body, a nobody knows, nobody knows. But also nobody knows as in no one has that information, right? Okay, so the joke here is with the word nose, like the bit on your face, N-O-S-E, and the verb to know, as in he knows, she knows, nobody knows, K-N-O-W-S, right? They're pronounced the same, that's the pun. So today's expression, guys, is pull your head in. Oh man, pull your head in. This one comes from Jib in the Aussie English Facebook group. He suggested this in there a while ago. Guys, if you want to work on your English together with me and many other people learning Australian English, just do a search for the Aussie English Facebook group and join. As usual, let's go through and define the different words in the expression pull your head in, right? Pull your head in. So if you pull something, obviously this is exerting force on something so as to cause it to move towards you, right? So if I have a rope in front of me and I pull the rope, I'm exerting force on the rope and it's coming towards me, right? I'm pulling it towards me. I'll just turn off my phone, seeing as I'm getting some messages here. Man, geez, my parents are going nuts, sending me a lot of messages here. All right, so if you pull something in, it's the same idea here with to pull something inwards, to pull something towards you, but we're using the preposition in to show that it's going in an inwards direction as opposed to an outwards direction, right? So if I pull my hands into my body, they're coming towards my body. If I push my hands out from my body, they're going away from my body, okay? A head. I'm sure you guys will know what a head is. This is the upper part of the human body, right? If I tap on my head, you can hear it's almost hollow. There's a little brain in there. But that is where the brain is. That's where your nose is, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your teeth. Everything there is in your head, the upper part of the human body. On top of your shoulders, right? On top of your neck. So the expression to pull your head in. I wonder if you guys have heard this expression before and if you know how to use it. To pull your head in. Mate, pull your head in. Pull your head in, mate. If you pull your head in, it can mean to withdraw or to discontinue what you're doing or saying, to back off, right? So maybe you're saying something to someone, it's a little bit too full on, and they say, pull your head in. It's like a way of saying, stop doing that, cut it out, right? Stop misbehaving, stop doing the wrong thing, start behaving, start doing the right thing, do what's expected of you. And so I was looking to the origin of this expression. I was trying to find it, like where did this come from? Because it's a classic one in Australia, but obviously it could come from, anywhere. And so I did some research online, and it seems that it may have come from the habit of soldiers poking their heads out of army troop trains to make smart remarks, to other people. So you imagine there's a group of army, soldiers walking along in a train in terms of like a line, and one of them pushes or pulls their head out of the line. I guess you would say, pokes their head out of the line and says something. The sergeant or the person in charge might say, pull your head in. And it could also reference a turtle, right, drawing its head back into its shell for protection, right? And it's been used since the 1930s to pull your head in. So here are 3 examples of how I would use this expression and how I've heard it used in Australia, okay? Example number 1. So imagine you're out with a group of mates for a bit of a piss up after work. It's Friday night. You want to go out for Friday night drinks with the guys. You're all walking down the street to a local pub. You want to sink a few beers. You want to have a chin wag. You want to chat up some chicks maybe. And this drop-dead gorgeous woman walks past, and one of your mates can't help but notice her. So, if you've seen The Matrix, maybe you remember the woman in the red dress. And so she walks past Neo, and I think he notices her. He turns around, and then all of a sudden it's an agent pointing a gun at him, right? So it's sort of like that woman to get noticed. As the 4 of you walk past, your mate sticks his neck out to check out this woman, right? So maybe you consider it a bit inappropriate. You might reprimand him. You might say, hey, mate, pull your head in. Stop perving on that poor woman. Pull your head in, mate. And that would be like a literal example, but also a figurative one in terms of stop doing the wrong thing, start behaving correctly. Example number 2. Imagine you're a young girl at high school and you're studying in year 12, the final year at high school where you're 17 or 18 years old. Your folks and teachers all want you to do really well so that you can finish your exams at the end of the year and you can get a great mark and you can get into the university degree that you want to do. However, you're a bit of a misguided youth. You start playing up in class, maybe start pulling sickies to avoid class or just wagging school in general to hang out with your mates. So you've fallen in with a bad crowd and your studies start to plummet. They start to take second place to hanging out with these people. So your marks start to plummet. They drop. When you get your mid-year report back, your folks and your teachers might find out how poor your marks are, how horrible they are, how bad they are. They may be pretty unhappy. They may have a meeting with you and just say, you're going to have to pull your head in. Stop misbehaving. Get back on the straight and narrow. Start working hard again. Start studying hard. And remember, what you want ultimately is to get into university next year to do the degree you want to do, right? So pull your head in, girl. Example number 3. Imagine that you get a new job at the start of the year, maybe as a real estate agent. So you've worked really hard and initially you've been in this probationary period. Sometimes when you get a new job for the first 3 months or maybe the first 6 months, you're on your probationary period where the workplace can sort of reserve the right to fire you if things don't work out, or you can decide to quit. So you've been working really hard on this period, this probationary period, to try and show your stuff, show that you're capable of this job. But the moment that you get off the probationary period, you start to slack off. You start taking it easy and your quality of work starts to slip. It starts to fall to the wayside, right? So your boss and colleagues might start to notice, and they might see that you're being a little more lazy than you were previously, and they may pull you aside and say to you, look, we want to keep you here. We think you're a good fit for this job, for this business, for this workplace, but your work is starting to become a little sloppy, a little average, so you're going to have to pull your head in, right? Start working your butt off again, like during your probationary period. Start to pull your head in, mate. You got this, but you need to work harder. All right. So there you go, guys. I hope you understand now the expression to pull your head in. It could mean to withdraw or discontinue what you're doing or saying, right? To back off. But generally, it's to stop misbehaving, or it's to start doing the right thing, right? Do what's expected of you. Pull your head in. So as usual, guys, let's go through a little listen and repeat exercise. And this is your chance to practice your pronunciation, practice your Aussie accent if you're trying to sound like an Australian, like me, with an Australian accent. But if you're working on another accent, just use these words, use these phrases as a way of practicing that accent. You don't need to pronounce things exactly like me. It's just an exercise to work on your pronunciation, okay? Let's go. Pull. Pull your. Pull your head. Pull your head in. 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 Good job. So there are a few cool things going on there. You might notice that pull, I can say it like a light L, like that pull sound, pull. But I can also say this as a dark L sound, where it's more like, as I say, a reverse W, right? Pull. Pull. This is where your lips kind of close, and instead of using the tongue to make the L sound, you're using your lips. Pull. Pull. And this happens when the L is followed by any sound that is not a vowel sound. And in this case, it's a semi-vowel, but a consonant kind of Y sound, right? So it's kind of halfway between a consonant and a vowel, but it's not technically a full vowel, okay? Pull your, pull ya, pull ya. The other thing you might notice is that the word your, I reduce this to just ya. So this word isn't the most important word in this phrase. Pull and head are the more important words, and so your can be reduced. I won't say pull your head in, I'll say pull your head in. Pull your head in. Right? So you'll hear pull being emphasized, your is reduced, head is emphasized. We turn the D at the end of head into a T flap, head in, and we link it to the word in. Pull your head in. pull your head in. So now let's go through a few sentences, guys, and I'm going to conjugate through I need to pull my head in, you need to pull your head in, etc. Okay? So listen and repeat after me. I need to pull my head in. You need to pull your head in. He needs to pull his head in. She needs to pull her head in. We need to pull our heads in. They need to pull their heads in. It needs to pull its head in. Good work, guys. A few cool things there. You'll notice to gets reduced and it kind of joins to the word need or needs. So you're going to hear I need a, you need a, he needs to, she needs to, right? This is a very common way that native speakers will reduce these words, sort of push them together, contract them together, and speak really quickly. You'll also notice there that the word pull, I'll use the light L when it's followed by the words his and her, because the H gets taken off. So I'll say pull is, puller, right? There's no H sound. It's not pull his. You can say that, but when speaking quickly, often there is something called H deletion where the H disappears off the front of words. Pull is, puller. And you'll see it too for pull our and pull its, because both those words start with vowels. Okay, so that's what I wanted to go through today with that pronunciation exercise, guys. Pay attention to those sorts of things if you really want to sound more natural like a native English speaker. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you need the perfect accent, but quite often what makes a bigger difference is using this kind of connected speech, these kinds of contractions, and the rhythm, right? The rhythm that we use. So you'll hear things like, I need to pull my head in. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? It's not just da-da-da-da-da in terms of rhythm. It's, I need to pull my head in. I-na-na-na-na-na-na, right? Hopefully that helps. All right. So for today's Aussie English fact, guys, I thought I would join it to this episode because it'll be a short one, and I wanted to talk about the fires that are happening at the moment in Australia. So you may have seen in the news this week, we've had these devastating bushfires that are rampaging through parts of the east coast of Australia in New South Wales and Queensland. Since the start of the bushfire season, more than 580,000 hectares of land have been razed to the ground. They've been burnt. 61 fires are still burning in New South Wales, with 51 fires burning in Queensland. And so far, tragically, 3 people have perished in these fires, and more than 200 homes and sheds have been lost to the flames. And today is Tuesday, and we have a catastrophic fire warning for that greater area around Sydney. And so who knows what's going to happen by the end of today. It's almost 40 degrees there, and they have some significant bushfires threatening houses and lives. And, you know, we're just hoping that everything goes well today and we don't lose any more lives. So I thought I would talk a little bit about how you can survive a bushfire today. And I got the information here from the Country Fire Service, the website cfs.sa.gov.au. The link will be in the transcript if you want to go and check out their website. I highly recommend that you do that if you live in an area where bushfires are more likely to happen. Okay, guys? So you definitely need to listen to the rest of this episode if you're living in that kind of area. So the CFS has 7 keys to surviving a bushfire. So the first one is making sure that you write and practice a good bushfire survival plan. So your plan is central to your survival. A good bushfire survival plan will outline things like what you need to do to help safeguard your property. You know, do you need to make sure that you fill the gutters with water, to clear away all of the fuel that might be on the ground, you know, sticks and branches and fallen trees and everything that could burn? Which actions will each member of your family take on fire risk days, and if a fire threatens the house? A really good plan is prepared well before the fire danger season, and it's reviewed every single year year. You need to write it down so that the details are on hand when you need them. You need to practice it regularly so that you know how to go on the day. And it's created with the whole family and covers everyone, including the young and the elderly. And it needs to include what to do before the fire danger season, on a total fire ban day, during a bushfire, and after a bushfire. And you can adapt it to unforeseen circumstances. Understanding bushfire behaviour. It's incredibly important to understand the characteristics and behaviour of bushfires as well. They're influenced by things like vegetation, topography, and climate. So what do you know about bushfire behaviour? If you don't know enough, you might need to learn a little bit more about this on the CFS website. Recognizing days of high fire danger. Bushfires can be incredibly more dangerous on certain days, not just every single day. You need to make sure that you've learnt to recognize the characteristics and the terminology of these days. Do you know the signs? You know, what makes a bad day? It tends to be an incredibly hot day with a significant amount of wind that'll spread that fire. Preparing your home and property. So you need to obviously prepare your home and your property in case of a bushfire on these kinds of days. So even if your plan is to just leave early, a well-prepared home is more likely to survive a bushfire, right? You don't want to just leave and save your family, but do nothing to prepare your property to hopefully endure a potential bushfire. So have you prepared your property? Do you know how you're going to prepare your property? And this would all be in your bushfire plan. Creating emergency kits. These kits keep all the things that you need together and accessible. You need to create a relocation kit where you'll take the things with you that you need, a survival kit, what you need to help survive on the day, and a recovery kit, what you need for approximately 24 to 48 hours after a fire. So have you thought about what you would pack in a kit like this? Acting on days of high fire danger. Put your preparation and plans into action on high fire danger days. Have you thought about what you'll do on a high fire danger day? And lastly, consider your physical and emotional preparation. It's important to be realistic about what you can and can't do, and you need to ensure that you and your family understand fully what a bushfire can mean in terms of fear, stress, and threat to personal life. So how prepared are you? Alright guys, so that's some food for thought. If you're living in any areas where there may be bushfires this summer, in this bushfire season, make sure that you check out the CFS website. If you want to find out more information about putting together a survival plan in case of a bushfire, but ultimately, you just need to make sure that you're prepared, okay? If you're in one of these areas with a lot of bush, it's hot, it's windy, and it's bushfire prone, be prepared, and you will have the best chance of survival. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me today. It's an absolute pleasure. Don't forget to check out the website, get my courses, the premium podcast, and the academy via www.aussieenglish.com.au. And until next time, I wish you all the best. See ya. G'day, mate. Thanks for listening to the Aussie English Podcast. If you'd like to boost your English whilst also supporting the podcast and allowing me to continue to bring you awesome content, please consider joining the Aussie English Academy at www.aussieenglish.com.au. You'll get unlimited access to the premium podcast as well as all of my advanced English courses, and you'll also be able to join 3 weekly speaking calls with a real English teacher. Thanks so much, mate, and I'll see you soon.